January to April is tax season in the United States. And while the thought of filing your taxes might feel a bit overwhelming, Davidson partners with a tax software company called Sprintax to make filing your taxes as an international student quite straightforward. To kick off tax season, I want to make sure that you know who has tax responsibilities this year, define resident and non-resident for tax purposes, help you understand how the system works in general, and share some insights that are Davidson specific. Finally, I'll let you know a bit more about the Sprintax process so that you can tackle your tax returns confidently. If you were within the United States for even one day last year, you do have tax responsibilities at the beginning of this year. You might think of your tax responsibilities as only related to working in the US. But even if you didn't earn any US income, you still need to file a simple form called the 8843. If you did earn US income through a job, then your employer will give you a W-2 or 1099. If you had a scholarship or grant that covered expenses not directly related to tuition, then you'll receive a 1042-S from Business Services. If you participated in the US stock market through investments, you'll also receive a 1099 for those earnings. You'll use these income documents to file your tax returns. But again, even if you didn't earn any US income, then all you need to fill out is the 8843. Most F1 students who earn US income last year will complete their tax returns using a form called 1040NR. Companies like Sprintax are designed to help you correctly file your tax returns as a non-resident. So avoid software like TurboTax, even using a local certified public accountant, because there are different tax laws for non-residents. In particular, non-residents are not allowed to claim the educational tax credit associated with the 1098-T. And there may be other treaty benefits that you're eligible for as a non-resident. Now, some F1 students have been in the US for more than 5 years, and at that point, you may be classified as a resident for tax purposes. You're still a non-resident when it comes to immigration, but you've been in the US long enough to pay taxes like a resident. Once you become a resident for tax purposes, you cannot use Sprintax. Instead, you can file your taxes as a resident using a method of your choice. Now, I think it's really helpful to understand what the return in tax return actually means. See, whenever you earn US income, a portion of your income should be withheld for taxes each paycheck. So whether you realize it or not, as you've worked your on-campus job, for example, every 2 weeks while you've been earning money, you've also been paying taxes. Then at the start of each new year, between January and April, you receive tax documents from each employer in the previous year and perhaps from Davidson College. These documents show how much taxable income you earned in the past calendar year. It also shows how much you should have already paid in taxes. Then when you use Sprintax, the software will calculate how much you should have paid to the US federal and state government last year. If you paid more than you should have, then you'll get a tax return. Sometimes you might not have withheld enough throughout the year, which means you would then owe additional taxes. So you're really not getting free money, you're getting back money that was overpaid. So far, I've been mostly talking about income from a job, but grants and scholarships that cover expenses beyond your tuition are also taxable. This is where Davidson students need to pay attention, because instead of requiring that you pay taxes upfront on your scholarship or your grant, Davidson College actually pays this for you. Great, right? But what this means is that if you received a non-qualified scholarship or grant and did not work in the US in 2020, then your tax refund needs to be returned to Davidson College. Inform Donna Basinger in Business Services of this amount. If you had an internship, invested in the stock market, and received a grant or a scholarship, it's a bit more tricky, so check in with ISP or Business Services for additional instructions. All right, this has been a very basic overview of your tax responsibilities as an international student in the US. But now I'm going to pass it over to the tax professionals. Sign up for a live info session with Sprintax or watch a pre-recorded Sprintax video to understand everything you need to know about taxes. Then, when you're ready, we'll send you a code that you can use for your Sprintax account. If you've used Sprintax before, use the same email and login, because it will remember your information from previous years, making it even easier to file. The Sprintax software includes a live chat feature, so you can ask questions to a tax professional as you complete your tax return. Check your Davidson email for more instructions and for your Sprintax code to get started on your tax returns.